All righty, welcome to Thursday. Chico Borman Show here on the Big Play Sports Network. So great to have you along. Appreciate it as always. We broadcast live from noon until 2, Monday through Friday. You can follow us, follow the stream live on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. Also available on YouTube. Type in the Chico Borman Show. If you are not subscribing, well, please hit that button and you'll be all set to go. But we're also available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and we also are available on the iHeartRadio stream, Big Play Cleveland. Check that out as well. So many opportunities to access the show. We hope you take advantage of those. And, well, damn it, we actually hope you also interact with the show because we love interaction to a point. 12:45, we'll talk to Erik Kuselias. He is fired up. Got me fired up. I'll just say it has to do with Michigan and a head coach and a rogue operative. So we'll talk to EK. Hopefully we can actually keep it to a talking level conversation, not a yell. Because we do like spirited debates on the show. We're very big fans of spirited debates. But looking forward to talking to EK. All right. Browns back on the practice field. What does that mean? I have no idea. Zero idea. None. Zero. Yeah. 3 quarterbacks the Browns have. None of them spoke to the media yesterday, probably because. Well, go ahead, Bohm. You're like chomping at the. Go ahead.
They are speaking today.
They are speaking today. Yes. Normally. Okay, but normally
it would be yesterday. You're right.
Yeah, so maybe I get this feeling that it will be Deshaun talking to the media because it feels like, and again, let me do air quotes here, feels like Deshaun Watson will be the starting quarterback on Sunday. But kids, if you are brave enough to fall for that 72 hours before kickoff, God bless you. 73 hours before kickoff. Because I don't know. I don't know. Deshaun was throwing the football in practice yesterday. I mean, it had Jimmy's eyeballs on it, D's eyeballs on it, everyone's eyeballs on it. And apparently, like I saw a shot from like 5 different angles of Deshaun to Elijah Moore, and I unfortunately I didn't have a radar gun, or it wasn't there wasn't a radar gun velocity indicator at the bottom of the screen, so I don't know. All I know is I thought I saw that before the Indianapolis game too. Like I thought we were saying to ourselves, and before the game, like, wow, he's really spinning it. What is his real condition? I don't know. I am mentally fried from this quarterback thing week after week. I'm being totally honest. I feel like it's to the point where just wake me up on Sunday, tell me who the starting quarterback is, and go from there. Because this daily back and forth and who practiced and who didn't and who's limited and who's not and who took the majority, like, you got to start figuring something out. And I think, we mentioned this yesterday, maybe they did indeed have that come to Jesus conversation with Deshaun Watson. Now, again, nothing where I don't want to make it sound, when I say that, I think it gives the impression that it was like a, what do you know? When did you know it? Type thing. No, just honestly, no cameras around. Just how do you feel? When do you think this thing is going to be ready? When? And nobody knows what the answer was to that. We started speculating because, again, the Browns didn't go out and get a quarterback. But here's the other thing. They didn't get a quarterback. That's fine. But they tried. I mean, they were in they were in the market, or at least calling Washington for Jacoby Brissett. Now, that might just mean, hey, you know what? We've got to better our football team. Even if Deshaun does go, we still want to have a better backup than P.J. Walker or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And to that, I say, amen, you're right. So, but it didn't happen that way. They didn't get anybody. I think we might be, I could be wrong here. Maybe we'll know more tomorrow in our Pick Six segment brought to you by Tipico. I get the sense that we're kind of even taking Arizona lightly. Like just as fans, which I'm not faulting fans. They are, I mean, they're 1-7. But like Kyler Murray's coming back. I have no idea what to expect, but I know he's a great athlete. I know that the Browns, and hats off to Anthony Walker, I like that. Anthony Walker was asked about defensively and what they need to clean up, and he didn't mince words. He's like, we've been playing like shit against the run. We've had 4 consecutive weeks giving up a 100-yard rusher. We can't continue to do that. So, yeah, that needs to change. Now, Arizona doesn't have James Conner, that DeMercado and Kyler Murray, as we know, if healthy, and if he does play and plays significant amount, we know that he can beat you and has beaten you with his legs. There's just too much unknown. And let's face it, folks, there's too much unknown going into any NFL game because, well, it's that whole any given Sunday. Denver beating Kansas City, San Francisco beaten by the Browns, and then, the Bengals, and now they're kind of licking their wounds on a bye week going, what the hell happened to us? It's the NFL, so expect the unexpected. But I think the Browns have taken the expect the unexpected and taken it to a whole new level. And some of it, I think, is on them. Some of it's not on them. The fact that Deshaun Watson got injured, hey, what are you going to do? The messaging and that's what I would like to know is, are they – I don't care necessarily – if the media, if we know, if the fans know, that doesn't matter. Ultimately, you'd like to know, but ultimately what matters most is, does everybody in Berea, the people that need to know, and thus knowledge is power, and therefore power is confidence, right? Do the people in Berea feel confident in what they're going to trot out there on Sunday? Or do they not know still? Again, you're naming somebody, but do you really know that he's going to be out there? And, how excited are you? If you're excited, you hear Deshaun Watson's back. I think your first thought is, and it should be, all right, good. Everything's trending in the right direction. But we don't know what Deshaun Watson we're getting. Again, the guy hasn't played for a while. I don't count Indianapolis. He was out there for a cup of coffee, got killed his team, and that was that. This guy still has not, with the exception of Tennessee, has not put together a great outing, one that instills confidence. So even if he is relatively healthy or healthy enough to go, how confident are you that he can play winning football? I feel like this is a really, every week's big, and this is a big game, obviously. You can't lose this game. But, your next two, you've got Pittsburgh, you've got Baltimore. Those are games you've got to have. If you have any aspiration, any ideas of winning a division, you can't lose to Baltimore. You can't lose to Pittsburgh. You've got to win those games. Now, that doesn't mean that your road to the playoffs, you're done. But if you're thinking about being in the thick of it as far as the division, it's time to get going. Boom. over your right shoulder. You got somebody looking right.
This is why I need to see through the windows. I heard the voices.
See, here's the thing, Bohm. Like,
You think I'd get too distracted?
in here, let me just have it a little aside here. So in here, Bohm's constantly distracted. Whether it's he's daydreaming about Lana Del Rey, another Argentinian girl, or a song that he's planning on, or what? I mean, God only knows, right? So he's everywhere. And that's why occasionally you hear me say, like, boom, I just discussed this like 5 minutes. You did? But then today, I'm running a little bit late because I'm busy screaming on my back porch to Kuselias about something so stupid regarding Michigan, but it was actually kind of fun. And as I'm driving past a certain car, I'm like, wow, that looks like Bohm's car. That is Bohm's car. Damn it, that's Bohm. I come up, and I'm sidled right next to him. Like, I don't, and for me, I don't know about anybody else out there. For me, somebody does that, my peripheral vision, my curiosity, I immediately look over. Folks, honest to God, you would have thought Bohm was in the 7 gate getting ready for the Kentucky Derby at Churchill. I mean, he was laser focused,
Locked in, baby.
straight ahead. There's really no traffic to speak of. I could not have gotten his attention, and trust me, I try. I finally had to beep the horn, and then he looked over. Like there could have been he could. I could have looked to my right, and Lake Erie could have just been ablaze, and Bohm just would have been like. Like he was, I can't tell you how puzzling at times Bohm can be, and yeah, and then actually I beeped the horn, and then finally you looked over, and then I was watching you a little bit longer, and then I couldn't wait any longer. I passed you because you were going about 40, which is what you.
I was going 70, Chico.
So
it was on the highway.
So you're saying I was going faster then?
Yes. I specifically looked to make sure that you couldn't give me the drives like an old man criticism. I made sure.
No, but I know, actually, no, I take that back because I know a lot of old men driving that are actually much more aware of their surroundings than you are.
Oh, yeah. Touche.
But no, it's okay. It's okay. I finally had to pass him, and I looked over, and he was like talking to somebody, or he was either talking or singing.
Mm-hmm.
You like that? He was either talking or singing. So I'm thinking he's like going to give an answer. He just goes, mm-hmm.
Talking.
To yourself or to somebody else?
Someone else.
Oh. All right. So anyway, that's Bohm. But we tend to get visitors here, which we love our studios here at Burke Lakefront Airport. Usually we get some traffic around here. Bohm, what's this latest picture? Do we know? Is this artist rendering of...
So that picture was already there. It just seems like it fell off the wall.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so...
Well, I'm sure sweet Googly Moogly is going to take care of that when he gets back in town.
Yeah, out on the East Coast, dealing with the East Coasters. Oh!
Yeah, so the guys were, I guess, I don't know who they're going on a business trip.
They're on assignment, Chico.
Yes, they are on assignment. Thank you.
Will they make it back in time for Big Hats, Big Bets? That's the question.
That's a huge question. Yeah, it's a huge question. Yeah, who was it? Padone, the big boss, Dave. I think I thought I saw Reflog in there as well.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
4 of them. You think they all have one bed?
I have no comment on the bed.
Night, Ken. Night, Dave. Night, John Boy.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I knew you were. All right. So, I don't know. As far as this Browns-Cardinals game goes, though, coming up this Sunday at 1:00 in Cleveland, yeah, you feel good about it because they're at home, because you have a defense, because they have an offense that is somewhat compromised, although you don't know. I mean, realistically, you have no idea what to expect from Kyler Murray, and I don't think they do either. They know what his skill set is. But again, we're back to with this offense. It's all of, I don't care if it's Deshaun Watson. I don't care if it's PJ Walker, DTR. Don't turn the ball over. Okay? Like, can we, we're not asking for a whole lot. For $230 million and 3 number ones, all we're saying is, look, dude, you don't have to go light it up like 2020, but you just can't be, handing footballs to the opposing team. You can't be just handing over field position. That's all we're asking. If they do that, they're going to be in very good shape. But this is a team that is leading the league in takeaways and not from the good side of things. And it's quarterback play. And yes, your guy has been injured. I get it. But, backups, like you go backups throughout the league, like it's one thing to be limited. It's one thing to not be able to, use your entire playbook. It's a whole other thing to just completely turn the ball over. And right now, that's exactly what this quarterback room is doing. So, take it for what it is. It sounds like Deshaun Watson may talk today. I'm guessing when they say quarterback is going to talk, usually that means the starting quarterback. I don't know. Boom, what do you think? Is he playing Sunday? Sorry, I know you were getting ready for fair or foul there.
No, I was looking, actually, as soon as you said, like, talking about Watson talking, I was looking to see if there were updates. Because it was my understanding that it would be happening soon or already happened, if not, like, very soon. But besides the point, I still don't have the expectation that he's playing. And I think the big question, and it's so polarizing, it was crazy to see it, like, unfolding on X or Twitter, or however you want to put it. But it was so funny to me, like, seeing the differences of opinion in terms of just these few brief Watson practice videos, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, he looks fine. He's throwing it far enough downfield. The question is it how fast is it traveling downfield? Like, is it going 100% the normal zip that Deshaun has been throwing? I don't think so. And by many accounts, it just did not look 100%.
Okay. How about this? What is your biggest concern for Deshaun? The shoulder or his confidence?
Well, they certainly go hand in hand, Chico.
Okay. They can, but they can also be separated. And right now, my point is, even if I was told today that his shoulder is 100%, I mean, now he went out and he got medically cleared, and then they went and checked his faculties, and his faculties were mentally and physically cleared, and they said, this guy is 100% healthy. I still am concerned because this guy has really not shown glimpses of anything to be excited about. Mandatory minicamp, yeah, the Tennessee game, okay, fine. But like I'm just as concerned as far as Deshaun Watson goes. I'm just as concerned with what's between the ears and how is he feeling, and is he up to speed, and does he feel like he's got a firm grasp? Does he believe in himself, believe what he's seeing? I'm as much concerned, probably more, if I'm honest, than I am about the shoulder.
Chico, I imagine that Deshaun is in a very vulnerable state right now in terms of just all the pressure that he's feeling, that big contract and everything. And I think that the shoulder is hugely impactful on his confidence, because if he doesn't feel like he's 100%, I think that has to, I imagine, seem pretty problematic for him. Like, in his position, just as you pointed out, everything that he's had to deal with here on and off the field, only really one good performance we've seen so far in this limited action out of him. I think the fact or the possibility that he doesn't feel like he can play to the best of his ability is going to weigh on him more heavily than most.
Yeah, I also wonder if you're Kevin Stefanski, even if he does say he feels well, Are you comfortable with everything in the playbook? I think Kevin's answer would be, well, he'd probably find a way not to answer it. But if he did answer it and he was sure, I think he'd probably tell everybody, yeah, absolutely. I've got full confidence in Deshaun. But again, okay, now let's be realistic. Let's live in the real world. Does Kevin Stefanski really have full confidence in his quarterback and thus full confidence in calling plays for said quarterback? I don't know. I doubt it.
So Watson did speak to the media already, it looks like. One quote that I see here from him in terms of like how much of the decision is for him to play is in his hands. He says, quote, "We all got to be on the same page. I told the guys I was ready Indianapolis week, and that was my decision, and I wasn't ready. I tried to jump the gun a little bit. End of the day, you got to listen to the experts."
Okay. I guess then I would go back to warming up. Like here's the thing. He can say that, well, I tried to give it a go, or I should have listened to. It looked like he was throwing the ball well in those pregame. I guess that's what I don't get. Like I would think Kevin Stefanski, who's, Kevin Stefanski, Alex Van Pelt, anybody who certainly knows football at the level they know football, and to take it a step further, knows quarterback play like they know it, they should be able to spot in like 2 minutes, does he have the zip? And you know what? Make him run to his left. Make him, okay, we want to see you run to your left. It's kind of like when you got a guy in concussion protocol, and they ramp it up to the point where like you're going full blast on the treadmill. They're trying to put you through a really rigorous workout to make sure you're ready to go. Do the same with Deshaun. I mean, I understand like you don't want to risk him getting injured even more or having a setback, but at this point, what are you really accomplishing if you don't fully know what this guy can do? Then it's bound to happen anyway. I mean, he's going to, in real games, in game speed, he's going to have to, be flushed out of the pocket. He's going to have to run throw against the grain. So can he do it? And I hope they're finding that out. I hope they're not being shy about it or being overly cautious with it. Like, well, we don't want him to have a setback, because I got news for you. That's a play he's going to have to make in the game. And that's a play, if you go back to Indianapolis, when he was running to his left and then let it fly, he had nothing on the ball. Nothing. And, you're in situations and you're playing in a league where one turnover can make the difference. Now, the Browns have had multiple turnovers, leading the league in turnovers, as we said. But, how close is he to 100%? And that's why I say, Bohm, like, I get that the shoulder and the confidence go hand in hand. But even if I hear the shoulder is 100%, that doesn't mean that I feel good about Deshaun Watson. I think this whole thing is messing with his head. I don't think he does believe in himself 100%. I think he needs to, that's why Baltimore was so, that it was like the perfect opportunity for him. Like, okay, light bulb goes off. He had a great game. And now you follow that up with another one, and then you're off and running. But instead of being off and running, he went to the shelf, and now we're back to square one.
The other thing that seems weird to me, and I know the broadcast doesn't sometimes shows it, but for the entire past couple games, Deshaun's just been standing off like alone by himself on the sideline, where he gets a good view of the field, but he's all alone. He's not with his teammates communicating or anything. And I don't know if that's worth making anything of. It's weird behavior. Like I wonder if he feels bad for not playing right now. Maybe he potentially feels like he's letting the team down.
Well, if I remember right from Seattle, he did have headphones on. He did have but
he was standing alone.
Well, I mean, if he's talking, you say he might be talking to AVP. He might be, if he's got headphones on, he's probably talking to somebody. Like, I don't need him to be smiling and joking with people. do something that's constructive as far as helping your team win. I don't care if he has pom-poms in his hand. Just do something. Like the Indianapolis game, but again, we could kind of chalk that up to, or maybe we all did chalk it up to, well, his head got rung, he got hit hard, he probably doesn't want to be around anybody. Seattle, I'm not gonna nitpick with it. I mean, I'm not gonna get too far down. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's, like I said, he had the headset on, he's looking at a play chart. I'm sure he's trying to help the team. But now, to the last part of what you said, does he feel like he's letting guys down? Hell yes, he does. I mean, and again, I don't mean that in a, like, blame him for it. He knows it. He knows better than anybody that he's letting his teammates down. He's letting the fan base down. He's letting everybody down. Unfortunately, yes, there is an injury too. But that pressure of really wanting/needing to perform was going to be there all year long, whether he had a shoulder injury or didn't have a shoulder injury. Because, again, this stuff isn't going away. And it hasn't gone away. It's only gained steam. I think he's finding out, not that he didn't have some idea, but he's finding out that, he doesn't have much room for error. Whether it's locally, I mean, nationally, forget about it. Nobody likes him. Here, I think they just want to see winning football. I think they just want to see a quarterback that, looks somewhat decent. And that's what concerns me, even if he does suit up and even if he does say, I'm ready to go for Arizona. Like, will he look the part of a QB1? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Bomer, you're going to make some Superman joke. You your eyes lit up and you leaned into the mic like you had.
No, I was just going to say, like, you're right. We don't need him to be Superman, but also, like, just please don't be the worst quarterback in the league, because the Browns have the 2 worst quarterbacks in the league right now. We just need him to be like, okay, even the 20th best quarterback in the league would probably give you winning football.
Have people, because I know in the moment, like after last week's game, and it took a couple days, 48, hell, maybe even 3 days for people to really, let that game sink in and think about how it played out and why it played out that way. And, well, should they have run the ball? Should they not have run the ball? All that sort of thing. But, I mean, there were a few people that were like, P.J. he's doing okay. And that astounded me. Like, I don't know. Have we become so immune to bad quarterback play, or we're so used to bad quarterback play over the years that all of a sudden P.J. Walker looks okay? Because he's not. Like, he's just not. And anybody who says, like, you can move forward with P.J. Walker, DTR's name was mentioned earlier in the week too, not so much now. I heard some people saying, well, you got to give him a shot at some point. If he looks better in practice, yeah, I haven't heard any of that. I mean, I don't know if the media even knows that. Who knows if he's making strides. Anyway, we'll get into more of this in the second hour of the show. Browns taking on the Cardinals. Tomorrow, of course, we'll have Pick 6 brought to you by Tipico. And we'll, more of what Deshaun Watson had to say, and we'll pass those clips along from you. It would appear, yesterday after working out, today he talks to the media that Deshaun Watson, as of Thursday afternoon at 12:30 p.m., that Deshaun Watson is going to be the starting quarterback for the Browns when they take the field at Cleveland Browns Stadium Sunday at 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. All right. Other things to touch on. Cavs get a big win. Needed to see that. Needed to have that. If for no other reason, I know we kind of scoff at psyche and moral victories, but they needed a W, and they needed to have it happen the way it did. Like They had to get down and dirty. They had to get grimy. They had to get, and that's exactly how the Knicks play basketball. And if the Cavs were going to win that game, that's exactly what they had to do, and they did it. Now tomorrow starts the in-season tournament. I'm gonna research that just to get a boom. I know you did some extensive research on it last night.
Not enough.
No, I'm shocked. I figured in somewhere in Lana Del Rey's bio there was a breakdown of what the NBA in-season tournament consisted of.
Yeah, no dice.
It starts on Friday tomorrow. All right. The other big news, Bobby Knight, absolute legend, and a guy that I'll be honest with you, over the years, like Bobby Knight really had a huge impact on my when I think about my love of college basketball and when it developed. It was, I've said this before, it was like the late, maybe 14, 15, 16 in that age range. Jimmy Jackson, Mark Baker, Jamal Brown. So like those early Treg Lee, Perry Carter, those early 90s teams, that to me was really when the rivalry became fierce between Indiana and Ohio State. Lawrence Funderburk was a guy that started at Indiana, then transferred to Ohio State. And I know I'm going a little bit, back there, but so I loved it. Now, my brother, who is not necessarily, he doesn't have the same affinity for Ohio State that I do. I don't think he minds Ohio State, but he's certainly not like me. He likes Notre Dame. He loved Indiana basketball. He revered Bob Knight. I think what we know now, and we knew it long before, yesterday came and the news came that he passed away at the age of 83. Bob Knight is one of the brightest college basketball minds we've ever seen. And there's so much. I think what's frustrating for some people is not that, he could be a real horse's ass sometimes. Everybody can be a real horse's ass. Even me, Bohm. I know you find that hard to believe, but even I can be a horse's ass sometimes. Well, why are you sitting there emotionless? Are you thinking about Lana Del Rey again? If I bring her up, do you go down this deep, dark, windy road?
Sometimes, but no, not this time. I just, I didn't want to be nodding yes when when you were saying that.
Okay, that's all right. Get back to whatever it is you were doing there, Bo. So the guy could be a horse's ass. We know that. And the thing that really made Bob Knight is he wanted you to know that he was being a horse's ass. He wanted you to know that he was being a horse's ass, and he didn't care. Like, that's just how it was. And that rubbed people the wrong way. Now, he also had plenty of, the choking incident, the comment on rape on, I think it was with Connie Chung decades ago, and he's like, well, if it's inevitable, why don't you just lay back and enjoy it or something like that? It's like, Bob. Terrible.
He was also asked if he had 1 hour to live, how he would spend that last hour, and he said he would watch women's basketball because it would be the longest hour of his life.
Actually, he respected women's basketball because he married a women's basketball coach.
I know. I mean, it was awful that he said that at one point, but it's quite a quote.
Thanks, Bo. All right. You've become the Fritzy of this show.
Who's Fritzy?
I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Bob Knight, rest in peace. He gave a lot to the game. Nobody, I don't think anybody at all can disagree with what he meant, what he brought to the table, and just his sheer brilliance. I mean, he was a brilliant game manager. Think about this. Of all the guys, I still can't believe this. Of all the guys that he coached at Indiana, he only had one NBA All-Star. When I first heard, and I'm going to double check on that, because he did have, it wasn't like he had a bunch of no-names. I mean, those 90s teams that I'm talking about, Calbert Chaney was a freaking stud. It was like Calbert versus Jimmy Jackson back in those years. But Isaiah Thomas, and of course, that's the last undefeated team, 76. But he was the best at taking a bunch of guys, again, not just, guys off the street, and making them believe not only in themselves but like, if you guys do this as a team, Bohm, now what?
You mentioned guys off the street, so no Michael Blocks or anything.
Thanks, Bohm. So he would take 9, 10, 11 guys or starting 5, whatever. And he's had some really, really good ones over the years too. But they would do it his way. There was going to be ball movement. Like, if you didn't move the basketball, you didn't play. If you didn't rebound, you didn't play. If you didn't play defense. And specifically because this dude, like, on his tombstone, something will be said about man-to-man defense. Like, the dude, like, that was really what he believed in. He may have believed in God. He believed in man-to-man defense. And you just outwork, you out-prepare, and damn it, it worked for him until it didn't, and it's kind of like today. It's kind of like Belichick of today. That, Bob wasn't able to then keep up with. He still got good talent, but, the difference between Bob Knight and John Calipari, and this isn't to say John Calipari is not a good coach. He's a great coach. But Bob Knight wanted nothing to do with those types of kids. He wanted nothing to do with a kid that's only interest was to come in for 1 year and then bounce to the NBA. Matter of fact, I'm convinced that if you told Bob Knight you could bring in 3 5-star guys, you'll win a championship with them, but they'll be gone next year, he'd say, I don't want them. That was the real genius of Bob Knight. Like, he wanted to mold, and nobody molded a group of guys to play basketball better than he did. But he didn't have to be the bully that he was half the time. There were times where he was like, and a lot of the great ones are like this. A lot of the legends that are perceived to be, in his case, at times he was a horse's rear end. A lot of times those same guys, and Bob Knight falls into this category as well, had the hugest heart. They wanted to help. If you played for Bob Knight and you played to the end for Bob Knight, he was going to go to the end of the earth to protect you, to help you, whether you got into, substance abuse, whether you got into, you have a problem with jobs or personal, he was going to be there for you. The other thing that I think really, he was the most confident man in the world and he was the most insecure man in the world. I think he was always under the impression that Mike Krzyzewski was trying to undermine him. And yet Mike Krzyzewski would turn to the camera nonstop, and whenever was asked, hey, what do you think about, becoming the all-time greatest coach in college basketball history? He's like, well, I'll let you know. I'll call the guy in Bloomington, Indiana. He had and a lot of those guys had the utmost respect for him, but it's almost like if you started to have success, Steve Alford encountered this too. When he was at Iowa, it was like, all of a sudden he doesn't want to shake my hand, and all of it. It's just weird, complicated. Complicated is the best way to describe him. But damn it, the dude knew basketball as well as anybody. And think about this. We all talk about Michael Jordan. I finally got around to watching that the Air documentary or movie, I guess it was, Damon and Affleck and those guys. It was Bob Knight in '84 that was like, if you talk about just pure athletic ability, he checks that box. You talk about pure competitor, he checks that box. You talk about pure skill level, checks that box. Smarts, everything. He's one of the best basketball players I've ever seen. And that was before MJ, pardon the pun, took off and, became the greatest player of all time. So that's a tough one. You kind of knew that he was definitely not himself. He was in failing health, but yesterday it was announced that Bob Knight passed away at the age of 83. All right. Let's bring him in early. Yeah, I consider this bonus time. So, Bohm, to your latest knowledge, because I know you're up to date on these things, up to the minute you are. You're a bulldog on these. You grind like nobody's grinded before. What is the latest news out of Ann Arbor in regards to Jim Harbaugh and the investigation?
I think it's really just more documentation, or not even documentation, more footage of certain things taking place, like
guys dressing up as clowns and
the Billy Manziel, the old Billy Manziel routine.
Yeah, I thought Billy Manziel's a good one. I definitely thought, first time I saw it, I thought Bobby Valentine. But again, and the thing that really, and this is where it gets serious. Let's bring in Erik Kuselias now with CBS Sports HQ. He's my good buddy. You can catch. By the way, before we get started, let's butter him up. I believe it was EK who said Corey Seager was going to be the World Series MVP. Now, if Adolis Garcia doesn't get hurt, he probably ends up winning it. But EK,
no, he doesn't.
What are you talking about?
Dude, Corey Seager from game one was the best player in the series. And here was the difference. Corey Seager hit everything on the nose in the ALCS, and it just went at people. And you could tell, you played baseball. I was a college baseball player. You know when a guy looks like he's hot and about to explode. And Corey Seager now has 2 World Series MVPs in 5 years?
No, I'm not. You're still a little bit. We turned the oven off, and you're still heated up from our conversation. All I'll say is this.
if you heat up an oven and you turn it off and then immediately put your hand in the oven, you're still going to get burnt. You need some time for that thing to cool down.
I need
cuddle time and I need cool down time after it's over. So you know.
I put on big fat Ohio State oven mitts. That's what I do, and I just stick my hand right in there. All right, EK, let's start here, buddy. You really feel bad for. I know Desmond Howard said it on Saturday. There's this rogue operative. Going around Connor Stallion, is that the Stallions? Is it plural? Well, it's more than one thoroughbred. Okay, Connor Stallions is been doing this for 5-6 years and nobody really knew about it. I just hope this guy is severely punished because you think of the lives and you think of all of the damage he's done, possibly even to football programs like Michigan. I mean, when you finally corral this guy, you got to make sure you take care of him and discipline him. What do you make on the latest with the Michigan investigation, scandal, whatever you want to call it?
I don't make anything. I'm a wait till the facts come in before I make up my mind guy. I'm a wait till the evidence comes in from both sides before I make up my mind guy.
Right.
I mean, if you're essentially asking us all to individually be judges in our own personal courtroom, why would I make up my mind when only the prosecution has spoken?
Okay, then I said this to Bohm. Really. I made a colossal mistake last week. I thought, and as I've told people, you have a law degree. You don't just accidentally get in Mensa society with a perfect LSAT score, not know how to combat someone like myself. So I made the colossal mistake of saying, well, all right, put your defense lawyer hat on and defend the guy and defend your boy, Jim Harbaugh, and you did exactly what you should have done. So take the hat off now. Your hair looks splendid. Just looking at it. I mean, what do you see? What do you think? Do you think good, bad, nothing to see here? Like, what do you just think looking at it?
I think it's kind of a watered down version of the Astros. Like, if what you're telling me is that any program, I don't care what program it is, was going to games and scouting their opponent and in part trying to decode and successfully decoding their sideline signals by taping them, writing them down, or whatever. Like, I get it. It's against the rules, but that seems more like a misdemeanor than a felony. I mean, if that's what they did, I mean, if you're telling me guys have been paying players, what coaches have done to kids, all kinds of massive stuff. I mean, what you're basically saying is they were the Astros without electronic buzzers or anybody with garbage cans or any of that. They basically stole when you're not supposed to stole. You're supposed to be a gentleman about it. I mean, that's what you got? Really? Okay. That's your fastball?
Okay, so no. You like that term. Perhaps this is only off speed, and if so, I apologize. Let me just say that if you're going to go that route with it and say that, well, sign stealing and not that big of a deal. What about paying play, all this other stuff? This is what makes it very interesting, is that usually when the NCAA gets involved, and usually we're talking about sanctions, it's not something that's on the field. It's usually, like you said, ex-recruit, we paid him. So, yes, it affected, games to a degree. This if true, allegedly, of course, if true that this scandal took, or this little scheme took place where they were filming, decoding, and then, edge rush, pressure, edge. And that was going into, somebody's ear before making a play call. Now we're talking about, you want to talk about gentlemen, now we're talking about the integrity of the game on the field, and it takes on a different...
Hold on. So what you're saying is, I'm allowed to scout your team, I'm allowed to look and break down your formation and realize if you're in this formation, this is the play you're going to run. I'm allowed to look at your team and go, this guy stinks, this guy's hurt, this guy's this guy. I'm allowed to scout. I'm allowed to decode. I'm allowed to game plan.
Whoa,
wait. And a matter of fact, we're going to exchange film. Right? That's a time-honored tradition.
Okay. I love how
the only thing you're telling me is I can't look at your sideline to see how you signal in your plays.
I can't film.
Then I'm the worst guy in the world.
Yes. See, you lumped it. Let me just. Did you? Boom. Even you, I think, noticed it. He's like, so you're telling me that I can't look at a formation, we don't look at formations, and we don't scout, and then we don't decode. Yo, he dumps decode in there like it's no big deal. Yes, that's
I'm trying to figure out if I can decode what play you run when you get in a formation.
That. But okay, if you're looking at a formation, that's one thing. If you have this giving the signs. Is that a sacrifice bunt? Oh, no. That's pressure coming off the edge. Okay, OC, let me get in your ear. They're going to bring pressure off the edge here. Now I can, as Matt Fink has tweeted out, former Buckeye, great. Yes. Drive on down. And anyway, as he tweeted out.
It sounds like, you know what? Do a better job of disguising your signs. You know what I mean? Like if I can steal your third base coach's signs, I'm going to do it. If you tip your pitches as a pitcher, I'm going to tell my teammates. That's what this is.
Are you at all?
I stole your sign.
Is it just, let me ask you this. Is it just a coincidence, EK, that, at the height of this thing, Jim Harbaugh, because he wasn't in good graces for a while. There was, you're going to take a pay cut. Is this guy going to get canned? He can't beat Michigan. Is it just sheer coincidence then that when Ohio State or somebody gives TCU a heads up, they get beaten, they get all of a sudden that vaunted defense, they get torn apart. Any coincidence that before the scandal takes place and before all of this decoding has taken place, they're struggling. All of a sudden, this guy comes in, then they start to do better, and now all of a sudden we've got this. Like, I'm real curious to see how this plays out because, and you know what? I don't want them to come to a decision on the 20. Put them out there. Put him out there because, now I don't think they'd be dumb enough, although I don't know. But I want to see those teams go at it without somebody in somebody's ear going edge rusher. Pressure off the edge, or this is coming, that's coming. Now it's an entirely different ball game, don't you believe? And Michigan's a great team. That's what sucks. They're a great team. Go ahead. Is there a question anywhere in our future?
He might be frozen.
Is he frozen? Could we unfreeze him? I'm sure he's a big cryogenics guy.
Stand by.
EK being the baseball guy he was, big Ted Williams guy. This always happens with EK. There we go. He was frozen.
All right, I would say two things.
Yeah, please.
One, they look pretty damn good this year. You sort of
played.
You sort of.
You got your strength of schedule's 181. You haven't played anybody.
Then here's what you should do. Here's what you should do. There's a look-ahead line. Michigan is a 7.5-point favorite over Penn State.
Yep.
And they are a 6-point favorite over Ohio State.
And that's
right
fair.
Now.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. So Michigan, without the sign stealing and all this other stuff.
What do you mean without the sign?
Well, if you're saying that this is now they're a different program, they're not as good.
But you know as well as I know that what they've done in the past has certainly built and when we talk about spreads, we talking about lines, all of that stuff is playing into now.
If you don't think they're better now without it, go bet against them. Put your money where your mouth is.
Boom.
Agree to do the show shirtless if Michigan beats Ohio State.
Too many
Put your money where your mouth is. I'm telling you, they're better now without it. They're better this year.
Oh, my God, man. You're really drinking.
Are they better or worse this year?
Can I wait until they actually play somebody in the top 100 before I determine
then bet against them. Then bet it. Well, you're the one. You should wait. You're the one saying they're not as good now.
Here's a $50 bill. All right.
You brought it up. You're the one saying they're not as good now.
Let's get to the real issue, though. Okay, you're basically crying the blues, acting like Michigan's getting the short end of the stick. Like the.
I'm not saying that at all. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I have no idea if they're guilty or innocent. I am not defending them in any way. Here's what I will say. You asked me if I thought this was a felony, and what I basically said was, honestly, I didn't know this was against the rules. I thought if you had asked me, I would have figured if you could decode it, like it's like stealing third base coach's signs.
If you put glasses and a hat on him, boom, you'd think, I think that was Jim Harbaugh.
Then let me ask you a question.
Deniability.
Why do teams go through all these rigmaroles to bring signs of, Norm from Cheers and the number Dipsy Doodle and lawn jarts to try to code in their plays unless they think people are trying to steal it?
Well,
I didn't know it was wrong to steal it.
Well, of course you're going to change throughout the course of the season anyway. But yes, that's
then how do they get an advantage if people are changing their signs?
Why? Let me ask you something. Why?
No, answer that question. You just said guys are changing their signs as the season goes on. So if I scouted a game early in the year, how am I getting an advantage?
Because, okay, if it's one thing to film the signs, it's like the reservation. You know how to take the reservation. You don't know how to hold the reservation. What your boy's doing, this guy wouldn't have continued it this long if it was just. You mean to tell me that this
You're stuttering a lot.
I'm not done.
Just answer in one sentence.
I'm not done.
If you're
this
changing your
filming,
signs week to week, how am I getting an advantage?
I'm explaining this to you.
Oh, you can't say it in one sentence?
Did you say what you said in one sentence?
Yes, it's not that big a deal. Everybody's trying to steal everybody's signs.
So everybody is everybody up in arms about this needs to know it's just nothing. There's no advantage. There's no inherent advantage here.
I don't know if there is or not, but I won't say there definitely is.
Oh, well, you just said it was no big deal. I thought you can't.
It doesn't sound like a big deal. Listen, it doesn't sound like a big deal to me. It sounds like this is, again, a watered-down version of the Astros, and it sounds like teams go through all these rigmarole, changing their signs every week, bringing pictures of Barney and bringing pictures of, a girl in a bikini and Shaquille O'Neal because they know people are trying to decode what they're doing.
Okay.
And the big crime is they decoded what people were doing. Okay, if it's illegal, punish them. If it's not, don't. But wait till the evidence.
But those teams, they're doing that on game day. This guy is going to other stadiums, studying them, and then.
So you can do it on game day. You can't do it before game day. This is the big crime.
No. EK, you can't be in an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator's ear just before when they break the huddle. Go, okay, I just saw the sign. It's pressure off the edge. I mean, this is if you really have to question why that's a big deal, then I don't even know
right.
what are we doing here?
I have a question for you, and I don't know the answer. If I worked for Ohio State and I was on the sideline and I was a good code breaker, right? People have jobs. That's their job, some people. And I'm like, if you put me on the sideline, by the third quarter, I'll be able to tell you what they're signaling in, and I'll tell you and you can tell your team. Is that legal or illegal?
That's legal.
Okay. So you are allowed to steal signs, break codes, all that. You just can't film in advance. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, you can't film in advance,
okay.
And then you can't stand next to after decoding and spending hours and hours and hours, because that's all this guy did.
Okay, so
he was on stage.
So they could do it during the game. They just did it in advance. All right, fine.
Boom, you got a problem?
Great.
You all right? Why are you just like? Why do you seem so like upset?
Well, I guess I'm just curious, EK. Are you Team Patriots as far as Spygate? Like, do you think they were totally in the green on what they did?
No, I think they should have been punished but I don't think it's we're taking your Super Bowl trophy away. I think it's a reasonable punishment. I think they got a reasonable punishment for Spygate. I think it's a misdemeanor.
So what they did was no big deal or a big deal?
No, I think they broke if they did what is being alleged, they broke the rule. But this isn't a capital crime.
Okay.
This is a misdemeanor.
Being charged with a crime? Is that what this is? I'm being charged with a
That's
crime?
Funny. You bleeping people. All you did was weaken a conference today, Chico. All you did.
Don't call me son. I'm a lawyer, talk show host at Big Play Sports, and you're under arrest, you son of a bitch.
By the way, I have a show that I would love for you and Bohm to watch. You will love it. You will love it.
I will. Bohm, I can't speak for because he's.
Do you have Hulu?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I want you to watch a show called Shoresy. All right?
Somebody mentioned this not long ago.
It is, I'm telling you, I sat in a room by myself. I watched the whole thing in one shot. It's 2 seasons. It's like 12, 22-minute episodes. And I giggled like an idiot from start to finish. Like you got to put the subtitles on. But basically, it's about this guy, Shoresy, his last name is Shore, in the Northern Ontario Senior Hockey League. No, okay. Although I'm Paulie Shore stories for another time. But it is so well written and so damn funny and so inappropriate. I'm amazed in this politically correct, world that we live in now, they're able to get away with it. It is awesome.
All right.
If you watch 2 episodes, you'll love it.
All right, I just got one last thing, and I really we're simmering down here. Okay, I just have one more question. What do you want to talk about now? My favorite color. I just want to ask you. You saw game day, and I understand Desmond. I get it. He loves me. I always think it's ridiculous when Ohio State fans boo him because hey, he made his college choice. Great player, but. He sounded, honestly, EK, he sounded like a complete idiot when he's saying things like, a rogue operative and they don't know who he is. Like, do you think that those guys on that, don't even say hardball. I mean, I got my own opinion there. Do you think that the coordinators, some of the players, they have no idea who this guy is, what he's done. They just know that he just happens to be hanging out in the sideline for, they say it's been going on for more than 4 years. but that it really kicked into high gear after 2020. So do you think that this is, Bohm, did he freeze again?
Yeah, looks like he did.
Yes, he did. I know you're really exasperated, Bohm. I hate to make you work here, but there he is. Okay. Why would Michigan?
I got your question.
Okay, what is?
I got your question.
Yeah. Okay.
And here's what I would say. No, I mean, the information is only useful if someone in power receives it and disseminates it, right? I don't know if it's Harbaugh, if it's Quarter, but somebody got it,
right?
The information, if there was information to be had, it's only useful no matter whatever the situation is, if that information is then given to someone who has authority and that person authority disseminates that information, which is used for an advantage.
Which is what?
So, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's hard to believe, but I will say this. Politics, sports.
Yeah.
Okay. We always talk about follow the money. People are very invested in catching, hurting, dismantling their rivals in the other side, which is why in these instances, more than in any other instances, even more than in, a local court where you got a prosecutor who, at the end of the day, it's not personal for him or her. You need to make sure that due process is followed. Because everybody in the Big Ten is incentivized to take down Michigan. And everybody at Michigan is incentivized to defend Michigan at all costs.
Yeah, they've got the computers now, from what I understand, which I think is a good move. Now, I don't know.
Good. Go get them. And if they did something wrong and they broke a rule, go after them. That's fine. But let due process play out. And don't give me this. Let's hang them now and then figure out if they actually did it later.
That's fair. I hope that they're able to, because you got your computers from Mr. Weiss, and then you got these computers. I hope, they're able to separate the two, because seems like there's a lot of computers in Ann Arbor in the computer lab.
Computers will make their way to Columbus one of these years, and you guys will have them at Ohio State.
All right, that's well played. Good job. Erik Kuselias, CBS Sports HQ. Browns getting ready to take on the Cardinals. I'm exhausted from this every week. Now apparently Deshaun did speak to the media today, which means apparently he did practice yesterday, which means he's probably going to play. EK, I said earlier, I'm as much, if not more, concerned about what's going on between this guy's head and his confidence as I am whatever the hell's wrong with his rotator cuff.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm at the point now where it's now a results-oriented process with Deshaun Watson. Like, it doesn't matter how you get it done. It just matters if you did or if you didn't. There are no excuses that will be accepted, and I won't take anything away from you if you do get it done. It is just right now you are at a pass-fail point. You're just going to get a grade if you're Deshaun Watson. Do you get this team to the playoffs and you make some noise, or do you not? It's as simple as that. If you throw for 400 yards in a loss, I don't want to hear it. And if you throw for 100 yards in a win or whatever, if you tell me you're hurt, you're not hurt, I've had it, man. You're getting $250 million. I need playoff appearances, dude. Like, I don't want to hear any more, like, whatever it is. All right? Your excuses are your own. Get it done or don't, but just let me know either way. That's where I am with that guy.
If you're the Vegas Raiders, well, let me start with this as far as the Raiders. Is Josh McDaniels, does he get another chance to be an NFL coach at all, anywhere?
He'll be an assistant somewhere.
Oh, yeah. But I mean head coach.
Some guys are meant to be vice presidents. Some guys are really good coordinators. Not everybody, there's an old saying, you get promoted to your level of incompetence, right? As long as you do a good job, you keep getting promoted. And then once you get to a job where you can't do it anymore, you don't get promoted off that job, and you get promoted to your level of incompetence. And maybe that's where it is for him. Norv Turner. We see that. I think the guy in Tampa's that way too, by the way. I don't think he's the only one. But Todd Bowles, you get to, maybe that's just what it is. It's going to be a while before he gets another shot as a head coach. He may have to go to college if he wants to be a head coach or do something else. But I think he'll get a job as a coordinator. But I mean, who's going to hire him as a head coach?
You think Jim Harbaugh is going to be in the NFL next year? And then, I'm not teams are going to, I'm sure, going to ring that phone. No.
If I were guessing, here's what I think is going to happen. I think Michigan is going to circle the wagons like any school or any defendant or any person or any company ever has since the dawn of time.
In Buffalo, yeah.
And yeah, I think they will come up with a reasonable defense that has plausible deniability. I think they will probably get some kind of punishment that Michigan screams is too much, that Michigan's rivals scream is too little. I think it will not be anything crazy. I don't think it's going to, I mean, what, you're going to get a bowl ban 2 years from now for that type of thing or whatever. And I think that's going to be it. They'll lose some scholarships maybe. But people think that there's going to be, the Wolverines on a spit because they in advance decoded signs that you're allowed to decode on game day. I mean, it's not that. The non-college football Big Ten Michigan rival is not shocked and offended by this. And that's going to be a hard sell to put them on the spit. I think you'll probably get them. I think they'll get some punishment. And then everybody who's not Michigan will scream it wasn't enough. Michigan will scream it was too much and move on with their lives.
Okay, we'll get to Airman Rodriguez and Airman O'Malley in a moment.
The fact that you know the airmen's names and get them right is why you're the best.
All right, real quick. I won't keep you much longer, buddy. I appreciate it as always. Dolphins Chiefs coming up this Sunday in Frankfurt. This feels like, though it doesn't really mean anything at this point in the season, but it feels like I was asked this question last week from my buddy in Kansas City on his show. Who's the team that gives the Chiefs most concern, at least right now? And I said Miami with a healthy Tua.
Not me.
Who's yours?
Bengals. 2 years ago, they walked into Arrowhead and beat them and shut Patrick Mahomes down the second half. And last year, they should have beat him and came roaring back on him. And if it wasn't for, an aggressive, he's a nice kid, he's a good player. I don't want to, but it was a bonehead 15-yard out-of-bounds push. They probably win again. And by the way, this is what the Bengals do. They start slow, they get hot. I don't want to see them. They beat me.
Miami
can't stop the run.
In my defense, that was before, I said this before the Bengals beat the Niners. That I didn't see coming. Is that as much the Bengals? I'll say this, and you know this with the Bengals as well. With all the talk about Joe Burrow, and Lou Anarumo is like one of the best defensive coordinators in football that nobody talks about. And so I'm with you. Now I could totally make a case for Cincinnati. But as far as this game, Kansas City and Miami, and where each team is at right now, who do you like better?
You say right now, and two is healthy. When I did my, models, charts, graphs, dioramas, whatever we're calling it, I got to see Tua stand up and be healthy for a full year before I just acknowledge or factor in that that's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to. I mean, you're starting to see already we got some guys hurt, and I want to see Miami in a cold weather game stop the run with that defense. Kansas City, I know who they are. I've seen it year in, year out, year in, year out, year in, year out. Are they perfect? No. I mean, they got flaws, but they got the guy. We always talk about the guy, right? You say, is that coach? I don't know if that's the coach, but that ain't the guy. I know that is the guy. So I'll take the guy who's always there and answers the bell and isn't sick at sea and plays well over Miami.
Okay, so last thing before I get you out of here, I know you'll be all over this tonight for CBS Sports HQ, you and your crew. I'm hearing a lot of people say Steelers over Jacksonville. They're not buying the Will Levis hype. They're saying the Steelers, they'll find a way. Kenny Pickett, I guess, is healthy, but who do you like in this game?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Tennessee is look.
Or Tennessee,
these teams are very similar to me. I know what you meant. These two teams are very similar to me. I don't know how they do it. Like, I look at their roster, and I'm like, they're not any good. And all they do is win, win, win no matter what.
Yeah.
To quote Rick Ross. That's what they do. And I am shocked. This might be Mike Tomlin's best job. That roster stinks on offense. They have a terrible line. Their running backs are slow and can't get out of their way. Their tight ends on IR, and their quarterback, let's be honest, between me and you and the lamppost, he's not any good. He's not the guy, right? He's not the guy. And they're winning. And Tennessee is playing Will Levis. Will Levis grew up in the town next to me. I know his father. His father works for Champion Sportswear, and when I go to my kid's college, he's putting the sweatshirts out, and we talk for a half hour. That's not an exaggeration. That is what he does for a living.
Well, you should have some inside info then on this one if you're that close to
He's
Mr.
a wonderful man, and it's a wonderful family, very athletic. The women and the men up and down that family tree are big, strong, smart, athletic people. It's a great family. Wonderful family. He's a nice kid. I'm rooting for him. But it's Will Levis. Tennessee was the 1 seed a couple of years ago. They won the regular season when Derrick Henry got hurt. It's Ryan Tannehill and friends. I mean, they're not any good. I don't know how they do it. I kind of like the game over. It's so low. But my prop tonight, I'll give it to you first before I give it to everybody else. Derrick Henry over 16.5 carries. I've already thrown it through the Whopper. That's the play to make tonight. Take that one. You'll be fine. I'm 7-1 in the NBA so far this year. I texted you. I had one point was 14 straight prop wins on the site on Sportsline. I've been on fire. I'm doing well. Corey Seager, I called him for the World Series MVP. We're up, quadrupled the money in baseball playoffs. I like Derrick Henry over tonight.
Okay, I'm going to send you this video after the show, but this is never before seen or heard footage. We're going to give you the audio of it, of EK and some of his law school buddies. This was after they took the bar, obviously celebrating like crazy. This is you can hear EK if you listen closely. Here we go. Pythagorean theorem. Nerds.
You know I don't get paid to come on here, right? So all you do is abuse me. I come on for free to get abused. This is what I'm.
I give you boom. That's entertainment that people have to pay for is boom. So we call it. No, you're right. I
deserve it. It's all right.
I happen to come across it. We love you. He's with CBS Sports HQ. Follow him on Twitter at FantasyEK. Over on Derrick Henry tonight. That's your play. He's got to think about it.
That's a great face to freeze on.
He
look at that grin.
That isn't. If that's not an EK pick, I don't know what it is. Anyway, we'll let him go. It's Erik Kuselias, CBS Sports HQ. We'll come back. We'll play a little fair or foul. Bohm was kind of in a crappy mood while that was going on. I don't think he liked the back and forth. I don't know what to tell you. Go pound salt. You seem to be little upset there, Bohm.
Normally, I love EK's takes, right? Some of the logic there, I was not with.
Yeah, because they're not logical. Yeah, he's.
It was that was the most homer I think I may ever hear.
Yeah. That was my takeaway as well. So in that case, you're allowed to act accordingly there. All right, we'll take a break. We come back. Fair or foul? Final 40 minutes or so. It is a Thursday. It is the Chico Borman Show. More to come right here on the Big Play Sports Network. Alrighty, welcome back. It is a Thursday edition of the Chico Borman Show. Great to have you along as we get closer and closer to, well, a very big weekend. Browns taking on the Arizona Cardinals at home. Brownies at 4-3. And by the way, this just came in. Thought I'd pass this along from Jake Trotter. This was actually from an hour ago. Jake Trotter is reporting that Deshaun Watson says, quote, he's not sure if he'll be able to play Sunday versus Arizona. I don't know. Good thing it's only it's Thursday. I was going to say it's only Tuesday, but it's Thursday. But we'll see. Browns taking on the Cardinals coming up on Sunday. By the way, coming up on tomorrow's show, we're going to get a little bit deeper into the Michigan thing because why not? Kyle Rowland is a reporter and writer for the Toledo Blade. He's been there for a long time. Good buddy. And he's covered Michigan for a while, Jim Harbaugh for a while. Going to get his thoughts tomorrow on everything going down here with that. And, we got hoops to talk about as well with the Cavaliers, the in-season tournament beginning. And we'll also talk to Bill Landis tomorrow as Ohio State gets ready to take on Rutgers. Without further ado, it is time for Fair or Foul. Go.
All right, Chico. Well, you mentioned the Browns taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray's first game back, and I want to get your thoughts here on whether you think that might factor into Kyler's performance. Fair or foul, you expect that Kyler will show some rust in his return this season.
Oh, yeah, he's going to show. I mean, I don't know how obvious it's going to be. Again, what's interesting to me about Kyler Murray, aside from just, the Browns and specifically the opponent and all that, before Kyler Murray got hurt, the controversy and the stuff swirling around him, and not just him, but like coming from former teammates and even current teammates. But remember Calvin Beachum coming out and saying, he'd yell at his linemen for missing a block or missing, and in reality, what it was he was supposed to be at a certain place. It was a certain play call. He didn't understand the protection that was called that went along with that play, and they just basically said he doesn't watch film. Now, not to the length of Johnny Manziel, but so I'm curious to see, the athletic ability. I think we'll see that maybe to the full extent. Probably not because, he might be a little bit apprehensive on that knee. But he's never been a guy that always made the best decisions. Has he used this time to really get into the playbook, or has he been playing video games his entire rehab? But I think, whether you're in the film room constantly or not, you've been away from the game that long, you're going to have some rust.
Yeah, and there's only so much we have to go off of. We know that he's making claims that he's eager to get back, though, based off of his motivational social media posts. And with that, I digress on that matter, because I want to move on to college ball now, where the Iowa Hawkeyes released a statement courtesy of head coach Kirk Ferentz. Quote, while my immediate focus is on finishing the season strong, I love coaching, and my intent is to continue coaching here at the University of Iowa. We have built something very special here, and I plan to coach until I am no longer passionate about the game, players, or coaches. So it sounds like Kirk Ferentz is going to remain the head coach for the Hawkeyes for the foreseeable future. And barring any sort of unforeseen scandal, it's probably going to stay that way. Fair or foul, Chico, Kirk Ferentz is the most untouchable coach in college football right now. I mean, you look at a lot of the big names, it seems almost like even more untouchable right now than Nick Saban I don't know that actually, he's pretty untouchable, but feels like Alabama's year has kind of been below expectations, whereas Iowa just they're always lower end of the pack.
Well, and what I don't understand, and this is Ari, I thought Ari was outstanding last week when we had him on from The Athletic, and he's written quite a bit about this, and Doug Maurice, now with our buddy Bill Landis at Rivals, he was the one that kind of irked Ferentz in that interview a couple years ago. But it's almost like Ferentz somebody asked him what was his most satisfying win, And he was like, the game we won 6-4 against Penn State. So, like Ari said, it's almost like he loves shoving it in people's faces that, like, this is how we win games. But, okay, at some point, something's got to give. Now what they're saying is he's basically planning to take over the athletic department. Like, he's going to be the AD. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but, yeah, he's untouchable from a buyout standpoint. And I don't even know what that money is. But he's bigger than which some college football coaches are. Nick Saban's bigger than Alabama's president. But, I mean, like, this is different. Ferentz might be the most untouchable coach, but I think what you're going to see him do, and he's already doing it, is making that play for a seat at the athletic director's table. And that's when it's going to get really interesting, because now you've got him overseeing everything. The guy's a hell of a coach. He's done a great job for his tenure. But my God, I mean, you talk about nepotism. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, his son maybe not so untouchable, but we'll save that matter for another day. I want to stick with college ball. Ohio State had some media availability. Marvin Harrison Jr. spoke to the press, talked about a number of topics. Amongst them, Chico, he talked about his 14-year-old brother, Jet Harrison, for the first time, at least that I've seen in interview setting. And he said, quote, "He's great. He's definitely more talented than I ever was at that age." And he went on to say, "He sees me here at Ohio State, and naturally, he wants to follow in my footsteps."
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, I don't know how literal he means that, but with all that said, Chico, Marvin Harrison Jr. was, I think now in hindsight, we could safely say he was an underrated receiver prospect.
He was 3-star, right?
He was a 4-star, but he was like right around 10 to 15 on most rankings. Yeah, I know. In hindsight, it's crazy, right?
I wonder if he didn't go to... Yeah, okay, go ahead.
With that said, Chico, and he was also the third of the 3 Ohio State receivers in the class, like the lowest ranked of the 3 that came in between him, Jalen Ballard, and Emeka Ibuka. But with all that said, so Jet Harrison, is it fair or foul for Harrison's recruiting rankings to be inflated based on the lineage and what we've seen out of his big brother Marv?
It's fair. I mean, when you're talking about a prospect, I mean, you're going off film, but is that being taken into account? Should you take into account bloodlines, genes? Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, like the Bosa brothers, it wasn't like you needed to take, but then on top of it, oh yeah, John Bosa, had some really good years for the Dolphins. It, knows how to play. They've been around the game their entire lives. Absolutely, it should play into it. Fair. Now, I mean, you can say if he runs a 4.8 40 and somebody's got him as a top 5 wide receiver, then yeah, I think maybe we've gone overboard. But if he's already great, and then you're going to say, well, you know what? I'm going to take him from maybe 5 or 6 in his class, maybe to right to one. And the reason being is, in addition to all this talent, that's his lineage. I got no issue with that.
Yeah, and obviously we don't know the measurables because Marvin is huge. He's like 6'4". We don't know Jet's size. We don't know all the athletic stuff. And maybe because Marv is a super humble dude, maybe he's just hyping up little bro. But certainly someone that I know I will be keeping an eye out for here in the coming years, as I'm sure we'll start to see some high school highlights surface eventually.
Yeah.
Being only 14 years old, just starting high school next year. But anyway, little bit of an awkward, I guess, interaction as the 2 LA NBA teams faced off, and you had the Lakers taking on the Clippers. I saw some video of LeBron dapping up all of the Clippers starters except for Russell Westbrook. Russ was, kind of off by the under a hoop, like ignoring. And you could see him over there like he was watching. He saw it going on, just giving no acknowledgement to LeBron whatsoever. And I think we've seen this treatment from Russ before. Fair or foul, Chico? Do you expect this drama to come to a head at some point this season?
Yeah, fair. I mean, come on. You've got James Harden, if for no other reason, he's bored. and needs something to do. Like, yeah, I mean, there are some guys and gals, but in this case, guys. There are some guys in the league in sports like they can't. I think Antonio Brown was another one. Like we always talk about, they can't get out of their own way. Some of them they have to have drama constantly, or they can't survive. And some of it's an attention thing and whatever. But oh god, yeah, this is the question is, does he play? I think last year he played pretty damn well last year. If you look at his stat line. What I think is interesting, though, and again, you go back to what Doc Rivers said, is that he was playing some of his best ball and was, in terms of being a team guy, like his assists were up, he was distributing the basketball. Now, his points, consequently, weren't that high, but then he didn't get voted to the All-Star game, and his feelings got hurt. And that's when he went to Doc Rivers right after the break and said, all right, I want to be on the second team so I can lead it and I can just shoot my shot and get my points up because that's all anybody cares about. All he cares about is himself. All he cares about is the attention on himself. So, yes, and it won't take long. It won't take long for it to come to a head multiple times. It's going to be a circus out there.
Yeah, I mean, because they are actually on different teams and they weren't going to be exactly seeing each other every single night, I wondered if maybe that would give them enough space where nothing boiled over. But you seem pretty sure of it, Chico. I honestly, I love the drama. What can I say? But with that, one more NBA one. Okay, so this is based off a report from Michael Scotto. I don't think it's Michael Scotto. Just a weird play on The Office.
I'm sure he'll be calling us if it's not.
Yeah. Well, basically, he reported that Philadelphia 76ers are in the market for a player. He ran off a number of names, including Zach LaVine, OG Anunoby. He also said the 76ers rather, are going to be keeping a close eye on the Cavs and the Donovan Mitchell situation. Fair or foul? Do you think this is just smoke trying to drum things up? Like, sure, you do your due diligence, but and this has been a looming question, but there's not actually anything here?
So fair or foul? Yeah. I don't think. Okay, I'm going to say fair. There's nothing here, but I mean, if I'm just looking around the league, and if my job is to say, okay, hey, where could Team X, what could they do to help their team down the road? I'm going to look at teams that are talented. Look at teams where a guy hasn't signed an extension and maybe there's talk about, he likes New York, he likes this, whatever. And if it goes poorly, then, yeah, we're going to probably put feelers out there. That's all it is. That's why I say you got to let the season play out. This is a big year. I've never said otherwise. It's a huge year. But, for right now, this guy's job was to say, okay, give me a list of players who, by the time the trade deadline rolls around or midway through the season, there could be possibly a big deal. And so he's going to go down the list. He's going to find a star player on a good team that didn't meet expectations. Okay, I'll throw Donovan Mitchell on the list. It's as simple as that.
Sure. Now, yesterday, by the way, the Cavs did get the win. It felt like Donovan really had to put the team on his back at times. Obviously, you're shorthanded without Darius and Jarrett. No Ty Jerome. With all that said, though, Chico, 30 points on 9 of 22 shooting. Now, he hit over 50% of his threes, which was incredible. Made 6 3 balls last night. But when you see fair or foul, when you see a superstar rack up numbers like 30-plus points, but they're shooting under 50%, and now, granted, they got the W, which is the most important thing, and that's really what I was mainly concerned about, bouncing back against the Knicks on back-to-back nights. But when you score 30 points on significantly less than 50% shooting, that's not an elite performance.
I mean, what else did he do? And did he play good D? Did he rebound? He
definitely played some good D.
Did he rebound the basketball? Just on the surface, if he scored 30 points, but he jacked up a bunch of shots, then okay. But I don't.
Not an offensively elite performance then.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everyone, I feel like when this happens, everyone talks about how many points he had, but it took you 22 shots and you only made 9 of them. That's a lot of missed shots. I feel like it's not sustainable to me. Now, he also had 6 boards and 4 assists. So he had that going for him, which is nice.
Thank you, Bo. Both for that question and for the Caddyshack reference.
That'll do it for Fair or Foul.
Thank God for small miracles. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, want to get back into the Browns here because I'm getting some pushback on Deshaun. I'm being too hard on Deshaun is what's going on, apparently. So I want to address this. We'll talk about it when we come back. Final half hour. Chico Borman Show. More to come on the Big Play Sports Network. All righty, welcome back. Chico Borman Show on this Thursday, winding it down on the Big Play Sports Network. You can find us, stream it live on Twitter at Chico Show CLE, also on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, doesn't matter. Also, we have our live station streaming 24/7 on YouTube, on iHeart, our radio stream. So looking forward to all of those different options. Now, coming up tomorrow, it's a Friday. That means we'll play Pick 6, brought to you by our friends at Tipico. 2 from the college slate, 4 from the NFL slate, including the Browns and the Cardinals, as the Browns get set to host Arizona at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. All right, before I get into that, Bohm, did you just uncover another little nugget here regarding the TTUN?
more potential lack of institutional control, you could say, up north, as it was revealed. And now I'm looking at it. This is courtesy of the Silver Bulletin. And I saw it as well from Zach Smith, former Ohio State coach. But
the reason Bohm glossed over that is because Zach Smith's track record isn't real great. But it looks. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this Michigan staffer by the name of Alex Yud was fired earlier this season after video surfaced of him planning to purchase alcohol, and he's caught on this video holding alcohol. And the plan was to meet up with a 13-year-old girl.
Oh, that's straight Chris Hansen stuff.
Pedophilia, Chico.
So you brought some lemonade, I see. Is that all you were planning on? Yeah, just wanted to drink some lemonade. What, did you think something nefarious was going to go on here? No, I just wanted to warn her about people that could. What really grinds my gears with this even more, let me go back to, and that's why I say Reese Davis, he ended the segment on College Game Day after Desmond said his piece, and it started with Herb Street, then it went to McAfee, then it went to Desmond. And after Desmond was done, and Desmond basically just said, people are out to get Harbaugh, and this, Stallions guy is a rogue operative. Nobody knows who he is. Pay no attention to him. Nothing to see here. And then at the very end, Reese Davis read that statement, which came out, and this was Jim Harbaugh. I think this was Jim Harbaugh right after the whole, or during the hamburger or whatever incident. Where in COVID, he should have been meeting with somebody, and they trailed it. They traced him buying lunch or something for a recruit. And again, Harbaugh's response was, from this point forward, I am making sure that we are the gold standard in terms of how to do things around here. Like, nobody else said that. Nobody told him to say, well, maybe somebody did tell him to say that, but those words came out of his mouth. No context, no, somebody's just putting word. No, he said it. We're going to go, and I believe the phrase was, we're going to go to the nth degree to make sure that things are done the right way. Meanwhile, you've got a guy under investigation who was fired in January for apparently accessing accounts of students, faculty, coaches, whoever, throughout the Michigan administration, the Michigan school system, basically, through his computer. He's now gone. Investigation continues. You got this moron who was supposedly fired because he was trying to meet up with Chris Hansen and a girl, 13 years old. God only knows what he had planned there. And then now you have this. So, I mean, at the very least, the idea that Harbaugh was so brazen to say, like, we're gonna be the gold standard. I will make certain that we're gonna go to the nth degree to make sure that things are done right around. I'd hate to see it when he's not paying much attention then, because this is some kind of Girls Gone Wild video that they got going on in Michigan. Coaches gone wild. I mean, this is like, what the hell? Anyway. All right, so I said earlier, I mentioned that tweet from Jim Trotter, who does an outstanding job covering the Browns.
Jake Trotter?
And no, yeah, there's a Jim Trotter. Jake Trotter.
There is a Jim Trotter.
Yes, thank you, Bo. Appreciate it. It's like you saying Ken Keyser.
Yeah.
So Jake Trotter tweeted out about an hour ago that Deshaun Watson says he's, quote, not sure if he'll be able to play Sunday versus Arizona. I simply tweeted, you can't make this shit up. I quoted that. That's all I said. And it wasn't, I don't fault this guy for saying, because I think we're all frustrated. But Liam tweeted back, he said, Chico, he said he doesn't feel good now, might feel better tomorrow, not sure. Do you want him to lie to make us feel better? I don't want him to lie. No, first of all, let me just say I definitely don't want him to lie, and I'll leave it at that. I just said I'm just exhausted with all of it, and I don't feel the need to apologize for it. I'm just tired every day of this thing being day to day as we get to Sunday. Like, it's just, it's the same. It's Groundhog Day with this quarterback position and Deshaun. Now, is he hurt? Yeah, he's hurt. But it's like the messaging, and I don't blame me for the messaging, because the Browns put out one thing initially, and then that was debunked, and then, the Seattle game, the Indianapolis game comes and goes. Kevin Stefanski comes out and completely unprovoked says he's going to play against Indianapolis. He's going to play against Seattle. And then Deshaun Watson takes the podium. I'm not so sure about that. So, it's like the message, nobody's on the same page. The messaging is terrible. And meanwhile, it's just like, fans are just on a yo-yo. So, I'm not, it's not a matter of I'm blaming anybody per se. I'm just tired of it. He said people were mad he wasn't talking. Now they're mad that he is telling us how it is. It sucks, man, but he's our franchise. Maybe that's it in a nutshell. And I wasn't mad that he wasn't talking. Well, I shouldn't say that. I wasn't mad that he wasn't talking. I wasn't mad that he was talking. I was just like, we want answers. And Deshaun doesn't necessarily have to talk, but then when he does talk, that indicates that he's going to be the guy starting at quarterback, but that now doesn't mean anything because he comes out and says he's not sure. So again, it goes back to messaging. As far as, Liam says, but he's our franchise, ! Okay, I'll say this. I'm a Browns fan. I root for the Browns. As days go by, I'm just kind of when it comes to Deshaun Watson as the franchise. He's the franchise in the sense of what you gave up and what you're paying him. Yes, that would, those are strong indicators of someone being your franchise. In addition to playing the quarterback position, if you get $230 million guaranteed, and your team gives up 3 ones to get you, then yeah, I think it's safe to say you're the franchise. In that respect. But when I say someone is our franchise, I'm thinking like, yeah, dude, this is the guy I want to build around. This is the unquestioned leader of this team. And I can't say that. Why would I say that? So all I'm saying, Liam, and I understand your point, you're trying to be positive, and God bless you for that. And you have every reason to do that, just like I have every reason to do what I'm doing. But I'm just exhausted with it. Like, and I want to say, like, yeah, he's back Sunday, and he'll give us some glimmer of hope. He doesn't have to ball out. He doesn't have to just, play a clean game. Okay, Tennessee, you played your best game. Okay, you got hurt. That's not your fault. I'm not buying into this. He's not hurt. That's ridiculous. But I do think he is very sensitive, which is why I can't get excited, because I think this is so much more than just a rotator cuff. The guy, there's so much that has gone on in this guy's life, not football, in this guy's life over the last 2-3 years. And I think people, even last year, going back to last year, that honestly believed that he was, after 11 games, was just going to fly into that phone booth and don the Superman cape and walk out and 500 yards. And wow, this guy, again, this is real life. And real life is dealing with real life emotions, situations, and I think a lot of this is catching up to him. So, I wish I could be as excited as Liam and others that say, well, this is our franchise. Let's go. Let's be, well, first of all, I need to get him on the field. And once he's on the field, I need him to play better than once every 10 games. I don't think that's asking for too much. And you've got, you look at the Arizona game. This is not a gimme by any stretch. I think we all know that. But then, you've got the divisional games again. That's why you're here. This is why you're here, pal. This is why you're here. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm not going to, I'm not going to be fake about it, and I'm certainly not going to apologize for feeling sick and tired of the whole thing. Like, I hate doing this every single day. Did Deshaun talk? Did he not talk? All right, did he throw? Did he not? Well, he threw, but he was limited. Oh, well, did he have zip on the ball? He had a little bit of zip on the ball. It's exhausting.
Yeah, AVP said that he threw it better than he did last time. Great, thanks, AVP. I think that it is annoying just having to deal with it day to day, and I am sympathetic for this whole situation in that it's an injury and you can't really rush a healing process, but at the same time, it feels like the whole process has just been handled poorly. It's been poorly communicated to the media and to the fans during press conferences, and the fact that this organization is so dead set on just spewing uncertainty and not like giving anything and keeping it so close to the vest, it feels like it's kind of blown up in their face in terms of just the reception of it.
Well, okay, and more to that, the tail end of that, where you said the reception of it. This is my thing. I'm not comparing because they're not. I mean, we've had some really bad regimes here. The jury is still out on these guys, but I think they've done a fair job. There's still a lot to be proven, and hopefully they can do it. But, and this is important, you can't blame a fan base when, if they get like me, I'm a fan, if they get like me with the messaging, because immediately your mind goes back to, oh, here we go again. Like, this is all we've seen for the better part of 24 years since they've come back. And so, no, I mean, it's not fair to Kevin or Andrew to compare them to Ray and Sashi or whoever. I mean, like, but that's what we do because as much as we need to be patient, or we're told we need to be patient, you know what? Fans are tired of being patient. Fans are tired of being patient about, I mean, even little things like the messaging. Like, there's no reason that Kevin Stefanski, and again, this is a guy that is as buttoned up as they come. So why in God's name after the Indy game would he just abruptly, well, he's playing on Sunday, and then Deshaun, because then Deshaun doesn't take that very well, and then, who knows? But in terms of the fans, like, you can only use this is your team, this is your franchise QB, got to get behind him. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you got to give us something. You got to give us something. Okay? It's not, and by the way, it doesn't take much, as this organization has seen. I know it's an injury. Boom, you're right. I mean, it's an injury, and yeah, unfortunately, you can't. But the messaging, and that's where fans, I don't blame them one bit. Well, hey, he's doing his best. I'm sure he is. But guess what? Sometimes, when you go to work, your boss says, hey, you're doing your best. Yeah, but it's not good enough. Your significant other. Well, I'm trying. Well, you're not trying hard enough. Well, same thing here. We're doing our best. Well, right now, your best isn't good enough because there's a lot of pressure on you. And yeah, this is a demanding fan base because, damn it, they deserve and they should be a demanding fan base. And so far, they have been severely disappointed. And it feels like we're heading down that road again unless we get some things cleared up on the offensive side of the ball. And pretty quickly on the offensive side of the ball. Like, it wasn't that long ago that we were like, come on, man, they're only 3 games into the season. And now 4 games into the season. And now, oh, wait a minute. It's week 9. Yeah, it's week 9. Time to get going. Midpoint of the season. Let's go. All right, we're out of time. We'll be back with you again tomorrow at noon. Again, very busy day tomorrow. I can tell you that we will talk to Bill Landis about the Buckeyes. And, well, of course, we got to throw in Michigan in there. Kyle Rowland, Toledo Blade reporter, definitely talking about Michigan. He covers them for the Toledo Blade. And we're also efforting one Chris Fedor as the Cavaliers get ready for the in-season tournament. Exactly what that means, I don't know, but they did get a big win yesterday. We'll talk to Chris, hopefully, if we can track him down. It all depends on what times the shoot-around is. That's the reality of the situation. So if we can, if he can find time in between that, we'll talk to him. But I know I will be here. So as Bohm said earlier, you got that going for you, which is nice. Thanks to Erik Kuselias. Phenomenal as always. Michael Bohm, if you're trying to get Bohm's attention on the highway, good luck. He's got blinders on. He is focused. I don't know what he's exactly focused on, but he's focused on something, and it's not you coming up and basically almost sideswiping him. He doesn't care about that.
I'm preoccupied.
He wants to make sure that he's got that guitar solo lined up for 4 a.m. today. All right. We'll do it again tomorrow at noon. Until then, folks, make it a great Thursday, everybody. We'll see you.